Hello guys, I just wanted to take a break from my usual uploads and talk to you about a series known as TPOT, the Fantasy series, and I also have a theory due to the last few episodes that were released where we get revealed Algebraian 1 and 3 that there may be something going on in the algebraic lore that may actually be something of use in later episodes down the line. But first, before we get started, I want to quickly review the Division book that was shown in the Thank You for 20,000 Subscribers video made by Jellyfy. I don't know if actually anyone's taken the time to read through it. Maybe they have. But I did some video editing to kind of make the rules a bit more visible, but I'll kind of just give a quick overview of what this is. So the story basically just talks about how the Algebraians figured out multiplication and division based on what they already had, which for a long time was just addition and subtraction. Something important to note here is that there are some examples that are used where 4 and 3 are mentioned. Like this line, for example. Multiplication, which is really just doing addition multiple times in a row. Think about it. 4 multiplied by 3 is just adding 4 together 3 times. Isn't that cool? It's interesting that they would be mentioned in that context, because last I heard, 4 and 3, as well as 1, they didn't really like each other. It eventually goes on about how division stayed a mystery for a long time. And what's even more interesting is that based on what we see in the images, we see 16 being divided by 4, and there being 4 fours. There is something interesting to note here about what we've seen in the latest episode of TPOT 11, where we do see 3. And as we're traveling through 4, there's also a doorway that leads straight to the equation playground. So is 4 just an all being that just encompasses everything? Well, based on what we've seen in BFB, he was able to just take Black Hole and, hold him. And as we look around, it's just all blue. Is he just essentially the universe? Is he just essentially the being of the universe? Was division having to do something with it? Now this is when things become a bit interesting as we read on. As we flip the page, it says the loss. And right away, first paragraph states, those who ruled the numeric realm at the time were not pleased with the existence of the division symbol. That part's not important. It's the fact that they have rulers, basically numbers that are in charge, and from what I can assume, that would have likely been for, as he's one of the most powerful Algebraians, of the 10 or 13, 14 that we are introduced with. Speaking of, the some that we are introduced with, that being 1 and 3, were later discontinued. They're basically only 15 years later brought back, as you saw in the beginning of the video. As you know, 1 was brought back into TPOT as he came out of the moon, or she came, I don't know, just forgetting this day. And we see 3 locking himself back into the cage in the dungeon, in the fortress. Now, this is what's interesting. If 3 wanted to get out, which he could at the time, he could have easily just walked through 4, the classroom, and opened the door to where the Algebraian equation playground is. But he doesn't. Instead, he closes the door and just either he accepts his fate or knows that he'll just get caught, or something else. Maybe he's plotting something big. And honestly, being that 3 and 1 were very disliked by 4, probably imagine why. And that would probably be that if you add the 2 together, you just get 4. I don't know why 4 would be so mad about this, and why he wouldn't use this to his advantage, but this is when it gets interesting. We have the division symbol, we have 3, and we have 1. If you put those 2 together, 3 divided by 1 equals 3. So essentially, 3 can form an army, if he's so pleased to just take his revenge out on those who disliked him or anything of the way. But no, he decides to stay in his little cell. Locked in there, for who knows how long, maybe for eternity. And right off the bat, I don't know if it's quite obvious or not, but just looking back through the writing and stuff. It's quite interesting because it seems as though the book itself is written by Ford, all the more being reason that he is essentially an all-knowing being. He's the absolute most powerful being in the entire series. Because as we're reading on, he basically just says his opinion about how he doesn't feel like Division is all cool, despite what they just say. And then out of nowhere, as if just to say, hey, this is Ford speaking, there's just a second paragraph where he starts rambling on about BFDI. And I just think it's so funny how he just starts mentioning his favorite episode.
Of the Power of Three?
Okay, this is where things get really weird. So I'm just gonna read it from her. What's up with 3 anyway? Why aren't they in these things? We're all thinking it, right? This is meta world. We're real this time. Let's get back on track. The numbers woke up to the next morning to find their precious division symbol gone. All that remained was the discolored patch of crest that laid under the symbol for so many years. The numbers were shocked and horrified by the division symbol being taken. 9 cried for like 3 days straight, I think. Would have been cute if it weren't so pathetic. Like, you're an adult, man. Either way, it was still a tragedy, though. So that just leads me to think that Ford may have more of a complex of what's going on, and it's more of like just this all-knowing being who's controlling everything. So while people are saying that 3 may be the main antagonist for the Power 2, I kind of beg to differ. Either he has a post-split, kind of like how it did with VFB and TPOT, or he'll be kind of like the anti-hero, where it's basically about its form. Which, honestly, I'd be up for more. I would actually kind of like to see some revenge get taken out before, after kind of what I've read through this book on Division, as well as from what I've gathered after watching VFB and so far what Teapot has all the way through. So I hope that this kind of serves as some insight to what is to come for the future episodes of Teapot and anything else that is BFDI related. Take care.